Under no circumstances do I ever, and listen please, want you to blame yourself. It is not your fault for someone who chooses to cheat. It is self-gratification, and it's their choice, not yours.
Welcome to Inside the Polygraph. I'm your host, David Goldberg, Expert Polygraph Examiner. Join me as I and my guests break down the facts, fictions of polygraph testing, law enforcement, and so much more. Real cases, real conversations. The truth is always revealed inside the polygraph.
Hi, welcome back to Inside the Polygraph with David Goldberg. I'm your host, David Goldberg. I want to first start out by saying I am so very grateful for my listeners and followers and all the comments, good and bad, that you have sent in. I hope that you are really getting a lot out of this. By the way the comments are coming in, the phone calls, the emails, it seems like you are really engaging, and hopefully you are learning a lot from this podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, on today's episode, we are going to engage in all your comments, good and bad, because I am not afraid to answer the bad comments, and I'm definitely going to engage in the good to help those that truly are asking the serious questions, because it seems that you are needing some assistance. So let's begin, all right? And I want you also to understand that I do not, under any circumstances, give out names for confidentiality purposes unless you specifically ask me to put out a name. And here we go. Let's start off. One comment says, never take back a cheater, period. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that person obviously probably has been cheated on, and they would never take back a cheater. Ladies and gentlemen, I get that asked all the time. And the question is asked when couples come to me, can a relationship ever be salvaged after your partner has cheated and after you find out that they have cheated? And here's what I always ask couples when they come to me. One, what is your breaking point? Everyone has a breaking point. And so you have to ask yourself, and I do ask couples, what is it that is going to make or break you when and if I find something that you may not already know, or more than you already know when you come to me. So you may already know that your significant other or partner has cheated, let's say one time, but when they come to the polygraph, there's multiple partners that they have cheated on. That may be an absolute breaking point for you. And that question, never take back a cheater, that may be that breaking point, and you're never going to go back and you're never going to want to be with that person. Or you may find out that everything that partner or your significant other has told you was verified on that polygraph and is absolutely, completely true. They passed because they were absolutely open and honest. Nothing new has come out. And you may say, okay, I can move forward with that. But ladies and gentlemen, let me explain something to you in reference to whether or not you're going to make or break your relationship after going to take a polygraph test. Number one, you have to ask some serious questions. Number one is your partner, and I believe there's a question about that, and I love the question or the comment that they made, but I'll say it up ahead of time, but I will read it so that they know that their comment was not missed. But I will say you have to ask, is that partner, is your significant other sorry for what they have done and for the hurt that they have caused you, or are they only sorry for getting caught? If in fact they are only sorry for getting caught, that should be the biggest red flags that are waving all over, because that just means that they most likely will do it later on down the road, and they're only going to cover their tracks later on, and they're going to cover them very, very well so that you don't find anything out later unless they get caught in the act. So unless they're very, very regretful, sorry, and you really, really know they are, then maybe you can work on that relationship and continue on down the road. Let's move on. It says, no, they are not sorry they cheated. Think of another way to keep on doing what they are doing. How I know, because my husband does that. He says that he is sorry, but then you find out he is still doing it. And that's just like I told you. So he tells this woman that he's sorry for cheating, and he feels that that's what she wants to hear at that moment. And maybe there's a lull in his infidelity. And then all of a sudden, when everything is calm, meaning the dust settles, then he thinks, okay, the coast is clear. And then he then starts that up all over again. And lo and behold, the cheating begins once again. So I'm sorry that's happening to you. Next, they got caught, nothing else, which means she or he will never, ever let that go, and that relationship is done. What if we came clean about it and then told them? Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is an excellent comment, and I will tell you, a lot of times, significant others do in fact come clean. But here's what I'm going to tell you, and I see it multiple times in my 23 and a half year experience as a certified advanced polygraph examiner in my office. Individuals that truly, like I said prior, truly regret and are apologetic for hurting their significant other and are sorry for what they've done, not for getting caught, they will admit to what they did. However, when they do admit that they are sorry and they admit their inappropriate behaviors as to whatever they've done in that relationship, you have to then ask yourself, before you move forward, you have to ask, is that everything that was said and done in the inappropriate acts? Or is it only just minimized enough that you got your answers to move on and there's more to it? And then that's what happens with a lot of couples that come to me. They feel that they only got the bare minimum and they need to have full closure to move on. Here's another comment. He also said he didn't need to pay someone to tell him what he already knows. Said the same thing about going to a marriage counselor. Well, that says that he already suspects that his wife is cheating or his significant other is cheating. And so why pay to have a polygraph examiner tell him what he already knows or suspects? And he said the same thing about going to a marriage counselor, which tells me that either or, there is absolutely right now no significant facts in that relationship. It's only all suspicion, and that the significant other or wife has been trying to tell her husband, I'm not cheating, I haven't cheated, and he doesn't believe it. He's sticking to what his thoughts are. He refuses to go to a professional to get the real answers, to put closure to the allegations against this woman, and he's not going to a professional licensed marriage counselor, because here's the reason why. And I say this, and I've seen it over and over and over again in my profession for 23 and a half years. The reason why a lot of men, and sometimes women, but mainly men, will refuse to go to a polygraph examiner and or any kind of licensed therapist or counselor is because they are steadfast, believing what they believe, and they don't want to hear a professional tell them that they could possibly be wrong in their thoughts. And so they want to stick to their thoughts, their story, because it makes them look better It makes them look good, even though they have no factual evidence and it's all suspicion. And what's sad about all of it is the other party is constantly trying to defend themselves for years, months, weeks, whatever, and trying to prove that they have never, ever done something that they're being accused of. So what I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, if you're either a man and this is happening to you, or a woman and this is happening to you, then you take that polygraph test by a very certified and licensed examiner wherever, or come to me, and you prove your innocence and you prove that you have not cheated and you have not done anything inappropriate in your relationship, and then you have the solid factual proof versus someone that just has thoughts or suspicion in their head and they have no proof, but you will now have something to stand with integrity and prove that you haven't done it. Let's move on. He is in denial, will never admit so. I truly love him. It's been 3 years, and when I seen it, I ask, but tell me it's in my head and mind. He tells me it's in my head and mind. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, just like I just said, she's witnessed it. She's been in this for 3 years. It's like a vicious cycle. She's asked him to tell. He refuses to tell, and he calls her crazy. You're nuts. I hear this all the time. It's all in your head. It's all in your head. But refuses to either take a polygraph test or go to a licensed therapist because of several reasons. And I say this all the time. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are asked to take a polygraph test by, and I'm going to repeat this probably 1,000 times, and you may get really obnoxious with my repetitive statements, but I say that for a reason, because I wanted to really get into your thoughts and that you don't go backwards. In order to get real certified results, you must find a real experienced examiner that's going to help you. If you choose an inexperienced examiner, or one that only cares about the dollar bill that you whip out in your pocket or your credit card, and only cares about you coming in that door that day, you're going to be sorry you did that. And so what I tell people is, find someone that truly cares about the issues that you're bringing to them, no matter what. And that examiner is going to take its time. It's going to resolve the issues, and you're going to be able to move forward with the issues that you brought forward. And so when it comes to this, if you're ever asked to take a polygraph test and you know for 110% that you are an innocent individual, you should have no issues taking that polygraph, no issues, if you know you're going to a well-certified, experienced examiner. But if you're going to an inexperienced examiner, then yes, I would have some trepidation and some fear, absolutely. But those that refuse to take an exam and they say, no way, I'm not going, you're crazy, you're nuts, all that stuff, it is because they have fear that either they're hiding something or they fear that they're going to fail for the reasons that they're either going to lie or they're holding back information. Let's keep on going. And I hope you're getting a lot out of this, ladies and gentlemen. This individual says they've been on both sides. Glad I'm way more stable and emotionally mature now. So that person has been on both sides, which means they have been on the side of being cheated, and they've been on the side that they have actually cheated. And either when she says or he says that they are more mature emotionally and more stable now, maybe they're saying that this occurred when they were way, way younger, and now they're now able to move on. Let's continue on. This is an excellent comment, and I will definitely be talking about this. How can they be sorry? They had a choice to constantly hurt you. You find out it's been years of pre-planned. And what I say, and I think I've said this in the past, and if I haven't, I will repeat this. Those that engage in infidelity, and we'll talk about more about really what infidelity is. But those that engage in it, it is an absolute selfish act, which means it will not, under any circumstances, benefit you. It is always self-gratifying for the person that does it. So when that individual made that comment, they made that choice to do it. And when they made that choice, they did not consider their partner when, in fact, they chose to go outside of that relationship and engage in some form of inappropriate behaviors with another party outside of that relationship. It was all self-gratification. They didn't think of you. They didn't think of the children. If you have children, they didn't think of their family members, mom, dad, brothers, sisters. They didn't think of their career, and they didn't think of you, your career. They didn't think of anything but self-gratification, self-preservance for themselves. Nothing else, nothing more. And so when that person asked about that comment when it's gone on for years, yes, you're absolutely right. They have not thought about you at all. And so what I would suggest for you is, and I will tell you is either you suggest that they maybe go to get counseling if they're willing to do so, or counseling for both of you, and or take a polygraph test to see if it is still continuing to be a problem or if it has ended. And if it has ended, see where you go from there. Let's continue. I can't get this pain, and she or he writes 100, 100, 100, been through it in the worst way. I'm going to tell that listener or viewer this. When someone says to you, I sympathize, that only means to you that they're sorry for what you're going through. When someone tells you, I empathize with you, that means that they have been through the same identical issue and feelings that you have gone through. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm an expert polygraph examiner because I have been through what you and the listeners have gone through. I know exactly what you are feeling. And it is an absolute gut punch when you get cheated on. You are with a partner, you put your trust, your loyalty, and integrity in that person. And what happens, ladies and gentlemen, is when that happens, you are ultimately chopped by the legs, and you are like, I cannot believe that this individual that I've given my love, my children, if you have children, I have sacrificed my family members, or I've sacrificed my finances, whatever your situation is for this person, and they have chosen to, in fact, go outside of that relationship for someone else. And you don't sleep, you don't eat, you're constantly thinking about the situation. It is an absolute, tremendous, anxiety-ridden issue that you guys go through. And I know that. And that's why when people and couples come to me, I take this matter and all matters that people come to me so very, very serious. And I get resolution, and I make sure you're able to move on, whether it's with or without that partner that you want to be with. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I get that comment very, very much. It is a pain that sometimes it takes years to get through. But here's what I'm going to tell you, both men and women of my listeners. Under no circumstances do I ever, and listen please, want you to blame yourself. It is not your fault for someone who chooses to cheat. It is self-gratification, and it's their choice, not yours. So ladies, this is for ladies only. It is not your fault because your body image has changed. It It is not your fault because you may have given birth and now you have stretch marks and you're not any longer the skinny mini, or you've gained some extra pounds or whatever, or you work extra long hours and you're not able to always do, and pay more attention to your significant other like you used to because you're so busy with raising kids, working hard, or whatever. It is not your fault. When it comes to men, the same thing. It is not your fault, meaning you may have gained extra pounds or you may be working extra hours or for whatever reason, it's not. And I will tell you this, and I've seen it multiple times. The majority, probably 99.9% of those that cheat, those partners, I'll say those skanks, those douchebags, whatever you want to call them, there's other names that I'm not going to say on my podcast, but those individuals that they cheat with, they are less attractive than you, they are less intelligent, and they have no life better than yours. What they have is they're just easy pickings and they're manipulated individuals that's why your partner went to them, because it was easier and they were able to either lie to them or they were lied to and manipulate it, and that's why they went. So do not, under any circumstances, blame yourself. Pick your head up, get strong, get angry, fight, do whatever you have to do, but you pick yourself up. You put your big girl panties on or you put your big boy pants on and you take charge. Let's move on. I've already mentioned this, but this one said, my hubby is not sorry at all. And maybe he's not. And that's what I just said. If he's not sorry, that means he's not regretful for hurting you. He's only sorry for getting caught. How do you word that question for a polygraph? I need this question answered in reference to a quote by David. I guess that's me. Are they sorry because they got caught? Or are they really sorry for what they did? Well, when I test them, that's exactly what I would ask them. Okay? Are you completely regretful for your inappropriate actions that you caused against your, and I would put that name in, meaning whatever your name is, Lisa, John, Sam, Sally, whatever. And then I would see whether or not they are. They're always going to say yes. I mean, who's not going to say it? That doesn't mean they're telling the truth. But they're always going to say yes, because why? They're trying to save face, and they're trying to really, if they're really truthful, they're trying to save their relationship. But I'll be able to tell the difference. Most people, in the very beginning, they're sorry for getting caught. Because if not, they would continue on with it, correct? Absolutely. Who isn't? It's with everything, right? When you steal, are you really sorry for stealing? Of course not. You're sorry for getting caught. Then you're sorry because of what? The punishment, the ramifications. So it's always, you're not sorry in the very beginning. You're only sorry for getting caught, because then you would continue. But then afterwards, then you realize what you've done, the hurt, the shame, all that. Then it then becomes, okay, now I'm sorry because of what I've really done, the hurt. And then if it's really true, then you'll know. If it's not, and they're just like, yeah, I'm sorry. That just means, yeah, I'm sorry I hurt you in a way, but I'm more sorry that I really got caught. I made my wayward partner take 2 polygraph exams. I'm not sure what exactly you're asking your partner, but ChatGPT helped a lot. Give examples of questions asked or ways to word your questions to find out what you're seeking to find out with a polygraph. ChatGPT is excellent. If people out there are not using it for whatever, letters, for, schoolwork, if you don't get caught, plagiarizing, don't. But ChatGPT is really, really good. The only thing about ChatGPT, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't put the personality in when it writes. So it takes that out when ChatGPT writes. So when I do my question formulation, I put that personality in reference to the interview of the person I'm interviewing. So I get that personality from, and then I formulate the questions based on the answers and the questions that I'm given. Okay, so it's not going to be generic questions where ChatGPT, and I've seen it, and I've asked ChatGPT just to see, if my questions are better than ChatGPT. They're going to just basically type in a generic kind of questions that you would ask. And that's not going to show me what your significant other is really all about, what they really, really have felt or feel after being interviewed. And then I'm going to formulate it in a more precise, detailed way to ensure I'm getting everything out of that person, to ensure you, if you're the person that's asking your partner to take the test, so that you can get total closure to move on in life.
Have you been accused of one of the following in your life, such as infidelity, custody matters, CPS investigations, or serious criminal matters that you're currently being investigated for? At Executive Protection Group Polygraph Service, we have been helping thousands of individuals for over 24 years, no matter who you are or what you have been accused of, with the highest accuracy, integrity, and overall compassion to everyone's needs. We are not your typical polygraph or lie detection service. At Executive Protection Group Polygraph Service, we are certified experts recognized in courts throughout the country, and we stand by our promise to give you full closure and all your needed answers. Call at 757-495-1301 and visit our website at www.executiveprotectiongrp.com to get started.
If we cheat, it's because men didn't do enough to make us happy. Well, that may be what you feel at the time, that man that you're involved in has not made you happy. But remember this, no individual can make anyone truly happy. You make yourself happy. What that person you're in a relationship with can do is help you become happier. However, if you're already in the mindset where that individual can't do X, Y, and Z, so I'm going to now go elsewhere to find my X plus, Y plus, and Z plus, then ladies and gentlemen, you've already had the mindset, you probably have already done it in the past, and your partner has not quantified and asked questions ahead of time whether or not you've ever cheated in the past, then I would say, you're just justifying your behavior in that relationship. And maybe every man you're ever going to be with in life is never going to make you happy. And you're going to go from partner to partner to partner until it gets old. And then you're finally going to settle down at some point. So you have to find your happiness first before anyone else really finds and makes you happy. And let me explain something really important right now before I get a lot of negative comments, which I don't have a problem with because I'll answer them. But I am under no circumstances, and this is a big disclaimer, I'm under no circumstances a licensed, trained therapist. However, with my 23 and a half years experience as an examiner and dealing in relationships as an expert, I do send couples who wish to pursue more assistance and help in their relationship to therapists and counselors that I work with. On this podcast, I will have excellent guests and a therapist that will be on here shortly, and that will tell you how they deal with couples and other addictions and issues that they deal with, so that you can get more information and more advice not just from me, but from the licensed counselor and therapist that I bring on. And I think I said this in my last episode or a few episodes back, that when you date, when you meet your significant other or future significant other, you never have a notepad, you never have a pen, and you never sit there and you never ask, hey, how many times have you been cheated on? How many times do you cheat? Do you look at porn, 4 hours a day? We never ask any of those, which we should, but we never do. So what we do is we look at them and go, oh my God, this is the most beautiful woman I've ever been with. This is the most handsome guy I've ever been with. He's all there. She's all, got the whole entire package. You have a lot of laughs, and then, you continue to communicate, and then you go date more, and then you have sex and your mind's blown. And then later on, you find out that you're dating either a narcissist, or you're dating a psychopath, or you're dating, someone that's a control freak or whatever. And then later on, you find out that that individual is a cheater. So that's on you for not asking the right questions in the very beginning. And in reference to that comment, they lack character and integrity. Everyone, ladies and gentlemen, always puts on their best face, always puts on their best character in the very beginning. It is just like a job interview. It's a date. When you go on a date, you're going to give and present your best job interview. But ladies and gentlemen, when they come to me, I peel that makeup off, I peel that face off, and I find the real character in that person. They never admit, they run and hide. That may be true when you as a partner or you as a significant other ask. They may never admit the full entire truth. But again, like I say, sometimes when they want to make that relationship work, or they want to make that family unit whole again, they may tell you what you need to know. Or if they decide to take a polygraph examination with a certified examiner, you may get your answers that you're really, really asking and begging for. I've been begging for a polygraph to prove I did not cheat ever since the first accusation 9 years ago. He said I could manipulate it. I hear that a lot. My significant other, my husband, he's a narcissist. My husband was in the military, or my husband's a law enforcement officer. My wife, my girlfriend, she's an absolute excellent liar. Can they beat the polygraph test? The answer is a flat out big No. What these individuals can do is lie to you, manipulate you, and here's the reason why, ladies and gentlemen. You have a history with them. You love them, hopefully, or they love you, hopefully. You have a history with them, either financial, you engage in intimacy or sex, so there's an absolute connection there. You may have children. You may have a residence that you share together. You may have property. And you may have a history, meaning years with that individual. And so you trust them, and you trust that they would never hurt you or lie to you. So when they tell you, I'm not doing X, I'm not doing Y, you're crazy, you're nuts, whatever, it's all in your head. You then look at them and say, oh, maybe it's me, maybe I am nuts, maybe I'm crazy, and so then you walk away from that thought, and what happens is you then say, whoop, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. And then you go back, you start questioning some more maybe lies come out, or maybe a little bit of truth, but then you start believing more, but then it doesn't make sense to you, and then you walk away, you come back, more arguing. So that's why and I hear that's why you feel that they're such great liars or such great manipulators, and so you feel that if they come to a polygraph test, they're able to beat it. But this is where, and I hear a lot of comments, not just for infidelity, but for a lot of things, especially when it comes to pre-employment and criminal matters. This is where people, and I'm not going to say beat because you don't beat, but this is where a lot of people get rendered false results. You won't beat the actual instrumentation, but what you will beat, ladies and gentlemen, is inexperienced examiners. Those examiners, like I said, that do not take the absolute time to interview, the time to find out what you truly need closure for, the proper formulation of questions. And those are the examiners that mess people's lives up more than you can imagine, making false rendered results, whether it's a good passing when they shouldn't pass or fail when they shouldn't fail. And that ruins people's lives more than you know. As a certified licensed examiner, our job and our goal is to ensure that we render the proper results. Because why, ladies and gentlemen? We are making, on a daily basis, life-altering results that will affect your life and those around you for the rest of your life. Take that and listen to what I just said. Life-altering results. If someone comes to me or a couple comes to me and I tell them that they passed after a lengthy examination and they decide to move on with my rendered results and everything goes well, I've done my job well. If I screw up and I say, congratulations, this person has never ever done this or never done this and passes, and then they go back and they find out that I've messed up, and it ruins that man or woman's life and could ultimately ruin their children's lives. And now they're fighting for custody. It's hurt the children, whether they're young or teenagers or whatever. Think about what I did, and that does not happen, and I've never done that. But think about what that examiner has done to that couple. Think about this, ladies and gentlemen, when people get false allegations against them for horrendous situations of child sexual abuse, murder, and you go, or they go to an inexperienced examiner and say, yeah, you failed, you did it. And then whatever happens, the police get a hold of it or the police, go ahead and charge. This person is sitting there. This is why there is so many people that are unjustly charged in prison, ladies and gentlemen, by being falsely accused and rushed to accuse someone or rushed to charge. But think about that, ladies and gentlemen, an examiner that doesn't take its time and then falsely makes a bad rendered result, and that person now is locked up or falsely accused and has been sentenced. It's horrible. It's horrible. I couldn't lay my head down on a pillow knowing I made a false rendered result. Would never, ever, ever do that to someone, and I don't. And so that's why I keep emphasizing, ladies and gentlemen, that if you don't find an examiner with experience and don't do research on that examiner, shame on you, because then that just means you don't care about your issue, you don't care about your family's issues, and really all you're trying to do is just save a buck. That's it. So you better take your time, or else you could be sorry later on down the road, especially with a marriage or a relationship that involves children, because it just doesn't deal with just the couple. It deals with more. It can affect your mom and dad. Just think about that. If your mom loves your significant other so much and is so happy that you now have this significant other in your life, and now you go to an examiner that's, you rush to get an examiner just because they could get you in that door today, but a certified examiner says, I'm sorry, I'm real busy today, but I could get you in 2 days. But you said, no, I got to go now. I got to go now. And you rush in and you get this idiot examiner. And then this idiot examiner says, oh, you cheated. You failed. Sorry. Have a good day. Thanks for your money. What happens? Of course, it tears you two apart, but it might ultimately hurt your 80-year-old mom or grandmother. Think about that. So, ladies and gentlemen, think before you rush about anything, but think before you rush. They are only sorry because they see the pain they caused on his woman and they watch her life. Well, that's a good thing in a way. If they're sorry for the pain they caused you, that's what you really want, okay? If they are sorry they caused pain to you, then that's really what you want. But here's what I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, and it is so, so important. As a person that has been cheated on, and a person that you may have been cheated on yourself, you will never, ever, 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 as long as you are living on this earth, ever forget what has been occurred to you. Never in your life. Never. Meaning you're not going to forget something that's been done, meaning traumatic to you. That means you never forget when you lost a loved one. You never forget when you lost a pet that you loved. You never forget when you lost a job that you liked. You never forget when your best friend, doesn't want to be your best friend anymore. You never forget certain things that are traumatic, nor do you ever forget something celebratory. When you got engaged, when you got married, when you had your first child, you never forget things like that. However, here's where it's real important, ladies and gentlemen. Forgiveness is very important. I'm not here preaching. I'm not here telling you what to believe in a higher power. That's not what this platform is about. But what I'm saying is in order for you to move forward in the issue that has caused you the most harm, meaning emotional harm, and maybe physical, because if you're not eating, you're vomiting all the time, stuff like that, then you need to learn to either forgive. And forgiveness does not mean, however, that you've given them a pass to what they've done. That does not mean that. Forgiveness means that you've gotten all your answers. You're fully got all the details that you needed and wanted. And you're able to now put that in a box, in a drawer, lock it up, throw the key away, and you're not going to bring it up anymore. That's what forgiveness means. Because when you live with issues from the past, you are missing out on what is ahead of you. You living with things that are bothering you from the past, you are missing out on so many good things that are way ahead of you. That means your children growing up, your children playing sports, you most likely trying to get a promotion at work, or your best friends getting ready to get married, and all you're doing is you're wallowing in your sorrow, which I'm not saying don't, because you deserve to be sad, you deserve to be upset. But what I'm saying is if that's where you want to be for a long, long time, then you haven't been able, if you're still going to stay in this relationship, is what I'm saying, you're not able to forgive yet. And until you're able to forgive, you're going to be in that same position for a very long time. And again, I'm going to say, forgiveness is not giving that person, oh, well, it's okay that you did it. I love you. Oh, you're just the greatest person in the world. Hell no. What it means is you've gotten every single detail you needed. There is no more. You believe everything. There's nothing else that you think is going to come out. You don't believe that person's going to ever do it ever again. You've punished them enough, hopefully, and hopefully you have, okay? And you've locked that information up in a box. You put that box and buried that box so that it doesn't ever open up again, and you're able to move on. And you can put so many parameters in that before forgiveness, meaning you can make sure that you're checking that significant other's phone all the time if you have to, if that was what the issue began, or, whatever. That's on you, because you are in charge. Remember what I told you? You are in charge. And whatever makes you feel better, then put those parameters in place. But here's what I'm going to say. Don't live in a police state where you're constantly having to monitor your significant other, check their phones, check their location, their GPS, because that's a miserable way of living, ladies and gentlemen, a miserable way. That's not how one should live. Okay? If that's the case, then you need to go get a job as a corrections officer or and monitor some convicted individual. Don't live like that. Live free, live happy, and enjoy life. And if that person that did that to you, you feel you cannot live with them because they are not having a good life with you for enjoyment purposes, then you need to make that decision that makes you, and you make that decision that makes you happy in life. I hope this helps you. You know how to reach me. You know how to send comments to me, good and bad, and I am not afraid to answer them. And I can't thank you enough, ladies and gentlemen, for following me, for listening to me, and for sending these comments. I am super grateful, and you have a wonderful day, and I wish everyone the very best.
Thanks so much for listening. If you truly liked what you heard today, please be sure to rate the show, share with others, and subscribe for more episodes.